Hello, and welcome to episode number 328 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be Monday Night Raw for week 3 of January 2023. And the Royal Rumble is just around the corner, somehow. And yeah, we've got 4 more shows before the Rumble, including this one. 2 more Raws, 2 more SmackDowns, 2 more Heats, 2 more Velocities. But yes, tonight we do have a couple of matches announced, including our main event. We'll see Dolph Ziggler and Damian Priest of the Grand Jury take on Rated RKO. We will also see an Intercontinental Championship match between Angelo Dawkins and Buddy Murphy. We will see Drew McIntyre teaming with Sheamus against Bud Dudley Davis and Pete Dunne. Chad Gable versus Finn Balor. And a real-life kaiju fight between Slim Shanky and Omos. And then another match that I've forgotten. Al Bianca and J-Flo against the Queen's Court. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show. We kick off with none of those names. We kick off with the American Nightmare. And he's here, and he's ready for the Rumble. He goes, "It's hard to believe that it's been nearly a year since I returned, stepped back foot here in a ring in WWE after 6 years away. And when I came back, I made my intentions very much clear. I stated I, the American Nightmare, was going to go on to become WWE Championship. I was going to win that championship, not just for me, not just for you, but for the American Dream. Out here we are, 12 days away from Rumble season. And I've been sitting back, there's a lot of people in this match that could go on and win the whole damn thing. You've got guys like last year's winner, Big E. You got a guy like Edge. Got Randy Orton, he's won 2 of the damn things. You've got a guy like Warden. Who knows who can stop that guy? And who knows who the surprise entrants are going to be? Every single year we show up and there's somebody that we don't expect. But I'm making you a vow right now that I, the American Nightmare, will enter that match. It doesn't matter what number it is. And I will punch my ticket to WrestleMania, and I will become WWE Champion." And then Cody leaves, and then Drew McIntyre's music hit, and he comes out. And I do this spot a lot recently, apparently, where one person's leaving, and then the other person makes their entrance, and they sort of cross paths. But I've sort of established that Drew and Cody are sort of, like, friendly. So I guess they'd sort of just, like, shake hands or respect each other on their way back up. But, you know, there is still a little bit of tension there because that is a world champion. So if Cody wins the Rumble, he could technically pick Drew McIntyre. But, yeah. We then kick the opening match of the show. It'll be the Banger Bros, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, taking on Dudley Davis and Pete Dunne of the Regal Coalition for a 91. That's more like it. That's what Sheamus and Gunnar should have got last week, but I made the mistake of making it go too long. I will take that one on the chin and learn in the future. But yes, it is the Banger Bros who pick up the win. Drew McIntyre turns Pete Dudley Davis inside out of a Claymore kick. I imagine the spot would be he'd bounce, or he'd nail like a punch to Drew. He'd bounce off the rope for that Dudley device. Clothesline, you know, that thing he does where he bounces off the rope, turns around and nails the clothesline. That's the Dudley device. So he goes for that, but then as he turns, Claymore. 1, 2, 3. 20 minutes and 30 seconds, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus pick up the win. 93 for Pete Dunne, 85 for Dudley Davis, 79 for Sheamus, and then 94 for Drew McIntyre. And yeah, another big win over a Regal Coalition boys here tonight on his quest, because he will defend that championship against Gunther at the Royal Rumble. We then get a backstage interview with Nova Nebula. And Kathy's getting Nova, you know, the Royal Rumble less than 2 weeks away, your first Royal Rumble match in your WWE career. What's your mindset? How are you planning on surviving 29 other women in their match? And Nova's like, well, it's never going to be easy, Kathy, you know. I'm not sitting here to pretend that, you know, I know everything about them. Like you said, it is my first time in the match. But, you know, I've seen plenty of them before in my past. I know what you gotta. The strategy sort of depends on what number you pull. It's sort of like looking outside and stargazing, Kathy. You ever done that? You look up, you see a star there and a star there and a star there. You can connect those dots. But then a different day you'll go outside and everything will look different the next night. That's because the constellations aren't moving. It is the Earth spinning, Kathy Kelly. But it's whatever you look at in that moment in time. That's what really matters. So what I can see today may not be the same scenario that I see at the Royal Rumble. I could end at number 1, I could end number 30. That requires 2 different game plans. So, to answer your question, what's your strategy going into the Royal Rumble over Nebula? I guess we'll see. And then in walk the 3 girls of the grand jury, and Sonya goes, "My God, is that all your life is? Okay, you're talking about stars and the galaxy and all that crap. I got bored just listening to it. Anyway, you're half right, okay? Because as somebody who's been in plenty of Royal Rumbles before, I know strategy. I know all about this. But when you're someone like me, it doesn't matter what number you enter, you can just run in and kick ass. And speaking of kicking ass, I'd love to be able to do that to you any time between now and the Royal Rumble." And Nova's like, "Well, say less, I'll see you on Heat." And Sonya goes, "Fine." So we just get a quick setup from Heat, a Heat match, Nova Nebula against Sonya Deville. Because that's a decently sized main event for Heat. We then see the continued crossover, but this is actually in the arena, but not in the anime place. My Wrestling Academia with Titus World Records there. They've got mainly Shanky sat down because Shanky's fighting Omos tonight. And then Manny, he's all excited. He goes, "I can't believe you're here. I got snacks. I got drinks. You are good to eat all this, right?" And Shanky goes, "Well, I don't want to eat too much for my big match." And Manny's like, "Of course. I'll blame Dio. Dio brought it all in here." And Saray's like, "Shush!" And then Sensei grabs out a DVD or something, and they're like, "See here, Slim. I can call you Slim, right?" And Shanky's like, "Go ahead." Like, this is what we here in My Wrestling Academia call an anime. And Manny goes, "Well, I call it art. Shakespeare." And Sensei goes, "Anyway, well, this particular one should teach you a whole lot. It's about being able to overcome giant titans." And then Shanky picks out the box, like, "Attack on Titan?" And Sensei's like, "That's damn right. Okay, so if you want to be able to handle a guy the size of Omos, you're going to have to watch this and learn from the characters in here about how to deal with a threat that big." And Shanky goes, "Okay, well, should I take notes?" And Sensei goes, No, we're just going to watch 1 or 2 episodes. It would just, you've got a match, later on. So we can't keep you here too long. We then get J Flow performance cross with Bianca Belair entrance for the 8-woman tag team match. It's going to be Bianca, Maki, Marika, and Tam of J Flow against the Queen's Court for an 81. I don't know why I expected better than that, but there are like 4 or 5 like deadweight in here. that counts basically all of these 3, despite Aaliyah getting a 70. It was actually really only Skylar that wasn't that great, but again, yeah, it's fine. 81's fine for this. But Charlotte is the champion, so she's going to win here tonight, and it's an excuse to not have Bianca take the L, because Charlotte can pin Marika or submit her, whatever the game says, with the figure 8 in 13:45. 76 for Tam and Maki, 67 for Marika, 89 for Bianca, 67 for Jordan, 61 for Skylar, 70 for Aaliyah, and Charlotte Flair, the Raw Women's Champion and the goddamn Queen, leading the pack with a 90. And yeah, more momentum on Charlotte's side heading into the Royal Rumble, as she picks up the win over Bianca and these 2 members of J-Flow. 3 members. I thought I clicked next segment, but apparently not. It's a promo from Dominic Mysterio. And he doesn't have a lot to say. This is basically just to remind us that he's on Raw, and that he's going to bring the Cruiserweight Championship to the Royal Rumble, and that his dad's run scared of him, and that he's the true greatest Mysterio in wrestling history, and he's going to prove that by winning the Rumble just like his daddy did all those years ago. Okay, 17 years ago his daddy won the Royal Rumble. Now it's Dominic's time to prove that he's the greatest Mysterio. He has to tie his father's legacy, and that begins with a Royal Rumble victory. Not this Saturday, 2 Saturdays time at the Rumble. I haven't decided where the Rumble's going to be yet. I want to keep saying like at or in a place, but I haven't really decided where the Rumble is yet. I'll think about that once I finish recording here. We then get Alexa in her office. When in walks Path of the Dragon, as has become tradition. But this time it's not tradition. This time they were called into the office. Alexa's, congrats boys, you know. Another big win last week, you know. Some people got interesting big wins last week, while some people, not naming any names, probably shouldn't have been wrestling last week, but hey, that's by the by. Anyway, this isn't about anyone else. This is about you and your continued run as the Raw Tag Team Champions. And seeing your rise happen under my watch really does pull on the old heartstrings, you see. That's why I want you at the Royal Rumble. I want you to defend those Raw Tag Team Championships at the Royal Rumble. And then Zoe's just like, against who? Alexa goes, I'm getting there, Dragon Man. Okay. Well, for the rest of the show, we're going to be like taking an eye on everybody in action. I'll be evaluating the roster up and down. I'm going to pick the two most fitting, most suitable tag teams to fight out for a tag team championship opportunity. And whichever one I choose... whichever two I choose will face next week, and the winner of that match will go on to the Royal Rumble to wrestle you for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And then they're like, yeah, we welcome the challenge, but never back down from a challenge. They're going to be the fightingest champions they've ever seen. So yeah, I guess Alexa's going to announce a tag match later on tonight. Who's in it, we don't know, but she's got something cooking. We then see a backstage interview with Kathy's with Bianca Belair, and she goes, Kathy, of course, tonight didn't go your way. And she's like, girl, you don't say that, okay? Look, the reason I'm standing here not the Raw Women's Champion right now is because of Charlotte. The reason I didn't pick up a win tonight was because of Charlotte. Charlotte, she's good, don't get me wrong. I'm never going to sit here and say that Charlotte doesn't deserve to be at the top of the division, because she's one of the best women I've ever stepped into the ring with. If you remember last year at WrestleMania, me and Charlotte, we tore the goddamn house down. But she's not my champion. I'm my champion. I should be that champion right now. I won that TLC match. Rhea Ripley's nowhere to be seen. But it's okay, Kathy, because bad things happen to bad people. And if Charlotte's going to keep my championship, then I guess I'm kind of taking it from myself, the Royal Rumble. And then congratulations to whichever woman wins that match, because I'll be seeing you at WrestleMania. And then into frame walks Drew McIntyre. And he's like, so, got your frustrations out, huh? She got, girl, you know it. It's like, well, how about you get some more out next week? Because you see, I'm not sure if you saw earlier on tonight, myself and my esteemed banger bro, Mr. Sheamus, dealt with that Pete Dunne and that Dudley Davis of that Regal coalition. And Regal's been a bit of pain in my ass, a thorn in my side for a while, for the rest of this whole month. And I'm going to kick the head off his ring general, Gunther, at the Royal Rumble, but there's still two other members of that group that I haven't disposed of yet. That's Ridge Holland and that's Florence. Okay? So, it may have come out on top when we teamed against Ludwig and Rhea, but how about giving me and Drew as a tag team alliance one more shot against Florence and Ridge Holland next week? Bianca's like, sure, why not? I'll kick some ass before the Rumble. So Drew's on his quest to beat all of the Regal Coalition members, and I guess that includes Florence. And he'd already teamed with Bianca recently, so I thought that sort of just easy just to slot that in as the match. So yeah, next week it will be Drew. Very tag team heavy show next week. I've just noticed, because we've got that tag team match that Alexa's going to set up, and then we've got this. Sure, should be interesting. We then get a 90 rated match. Of course we do. It's Finn Balor taking on Chad Gable. Basically just two men that are in the Rumble that had beef last week, and now Gable's going to try and win and prove that he's got the momentum for the pay-per-view and the big brain ability to survive, while Finn's just being Finn, babyface Finn Balor stuff. Gallows and Anderson are out there with him. But in the end, in 11 minutes and 25 seconds, it is Gable who big brains his way to victory. Imagine some sort of cradle or something with a roll up, either grabbing the tights or putting the feet on the rope, or some sort of bullshit finish like that. But yes, Gable does steal the win here tonight, and he's on the ramp. He's going to thank you. And Balor's just in the ring shaking his head, going, I can't believe I let this fucker win. 93 for Finn and 82 for Gable. So I guess 90 for that is a very good rating. We then get a backstage segment again. Kathy Kelly this time was with Rated RKO ahead of the main event tonight. Boys, this story with you and the grand jury has sort of been boiling over ever since Edge, formed the group back at WrestleMania, I think it was. And tonight it's finally you two against Dolph Ziggler and Damian Priest in the tag team match, main event. Is this where it all ends? Is this the end of the line for this squabble between Rey and RKO on the Judgment Day? And Edge is like, I'd love to give you a definitive answer there, Kathy, but ultimately it turns out about how Dolph Ziggler reacts to failure. Okay, so he did it last week. He grabbed that microphone and he cut one of those passionate Dolph Ziggler promos. But that's not the first time that fans have been taken aback and woken up by something that Ziggler's done. Okay, Ziggler, for all of his faults and for how many times he wants to put himself down, every couple of months he'll get hot, and fans will get back behind him. It's just about maintaining that, Dolph, and not squandering it. So tonight it's the main event. Grand Jury Rated RKO 2-on-2 finally. And we'll see how you do it. We'll see if you can prove everybody wrong by shutting my mouth up and Randy's mouth up for good. Or you can run, you can hide, you can bullshit your way through the match and prove to everybody that already doesn't know you what exactly you are. And that's a chump. We then cut back to the anime room, and of course Sensei said it would only be a few episodes. That has turned into, well, I say the entire locker room. Everybody in the locker room that would like anime is in there. Jiro's in there, Wendy Chu's in there, probably just asleep. Zelina makes absolutely no sense for her character to be in there, but I can't not have her there. Dio, I've made sure to mark, even though, all of my Wrestling Academia Top Squad records are there. But, he's a big weeb. Jamie Noble is the guy I stuck in there just to pop myself and go, yeah, he'd be there watching anime. That sounds funny. And then there in the corner, standing in the dark by himself with a hoodie up, Carland. Just standing just avoiding everybody, just in the dark, just looking at the TV. And Sensei turns the TV off and everybody boos them. And they're like, look, okay, I understand, we'll finish this later, but the Shank man here he's got a match to prepare for, so we can't keep him in this locker room any longer. And then Dio and Manny walk up to him. They're like, so, if you can take a Titan now? And Shanky stands up and he goes, I can take any Titan. And then Saray hands him some sort of katana or something, and he puts it on his back and he goes, I'll see you boys later. And Shanky leaves ahead of the kaiju fight. But before then, we have the Evil Coalition promo. No Dudley and Pete, because they obviously just wrestled tonight. And Regal goes, it appears we have some admirers, ladies and gentlemen. So, our Ring General Gunther here put the absolute fear of Pierce into Drew McIntyre so badly that he's now trying to take us all down one by one. You make me laugh, sunshine. Not only is there going to be a lot more in store for you next week, you try and take out my weapon, Ridge Holland, and Florence. And don't get me started on her, because if you do recall, Florence has been out of action for a month with an injury that she's just recovered from. So the fact that you've thrown her into a match when we said we were waiting until the Royal Rumble already has us on bad terms, Mr. McIntyre. But then the decision lies. Do Ridge and Florence embarrass the World Heavyweight Champion and the former Raw Women's Champion next week? Or do we save some of you for the Royal Rumble? Because Gunther, he may not be a very nice man, but he is an honourable man, and he would rather take that championship from you 100%, Drew McIntyre, because I know he can, and you know he can too. The ball's in your court. We'll see you next week. 79, fine. It is Bloody Murphy getting his shot at Angelo Dawkins' Intercontinental Championship. And in 1359, Dawkins, I imagine he plays the babyface. He still looks the same way he did when I brought him back. But he's sort of a weird character right now. Like, he doesn't like the fans, but he's still basically a babyface in every other regard. But he does retain the title against Buddy Murphy here tonight in 12:59 with a spine buster. 72 for Angelo Dawkins, 88 for Buddy Murphy, who does have Dijak there at ringside with him. And obviously Dijak jumps into the ring after the match and he lays out Dawkins with a chokeslam, picks him up, and then Buddy goes to deliver the Murphy's Law to the Intercontinental Champion. When out rushes Montez Ford. Street Profits theme blaring, he's saying his Street Profits get up. He storms down to the ring and he takes the fight to Dijak. He sends him packing over the top rope. And then Bloody Murphy's up. He eats that big Montez Ford enziguri and a big frog splash before Tez grabs a mic as Dawkins gets to his feet, just looking all confused at Montez Ford. And he's like, "Dawkins! It's me, it's your boy Montez Ford. I'm back. And I didn't realize I'd been gone for such a long time because my brother, look at this. You're the Intercontinental Champion. Congratulations. I knew you had it in you. And it's so great to see even when I'm not around the Street Profits doing the damn thing here on Raw." And then he goes to offer a handshake out to Angelo. And Dawkins just sort of looks down at it. He just stares at Montez Ford's hand. And he looks up and he stares into Montez Ford's eyes. And Tez is sort of going, "Come on, brother, shake my hand." And then Angelo Dawkins doesn't shake the hand, but he does give Montez Ford a big hug. And he goes, "That's it. Intercontinental Champion Angelo Dawkins. Me, Montez Ford. We're back. The Street Profits are back. Profits are up. And we want the smoke." So, interesting turn of events. Montez Ford is back. But he's reunited with Angelo Dawkins. How odd. Watching back, we see Malcolm Bivens' Dewdrop, Veer Mahan and Omos watching on the TV. And Bivens is going, "I see what Dawkins is playing at here. First of all, what a great defense of his title he had there, but now Montez Ford's back and the Street Profits are back." And then Dewdrop's like, "Do we need to intervene again?" And Bivens is like, "Nah, let's see how it goes. Omos has a big kaiju fight to prepare for, so let's get ready for that." Then see Tonya, the woman from last week, returning to the reception. And the man behind her goes, "Hello again, you." She goes, "Yes, I do hope this is the final time." And she goes, "You know where to go by this point, yeah?" She's like, "Yes, you don't have to direct me. It's fine." And she walks down the hallway and it's the same room as she was in last week. And she sees the man that was there reading through all the files. She's gone, hey, guess what? So, I've been talking to some people, both in WWE and outside, just about this situation. And they want you evaluated next week. Triple H, Stephanie, Alexa, all of those people, they want to see how you're holding up. So, you're actually coming to Raw next week. I need you to be on your best behaviour because this, she taps the folder that she brought in. It's like, this is money. And I don't want you to screw this up because of your weird little thing you've got going on up here. We need to be on this same page, brother and sister, together. Okay? So, if you're not going to be able to make it to Raw next week, speak now and I'll delay it for a little bit longer. I do have my ways like that. And then there's silence, of course. And she's like, "I take it that silence is a yes. So, brilliant. Remember, best behaviour. Here is a list of things not to mention." Tosses it at the man and then walks out. So yeah, whatever this development is, will be taking place on the actual show next week. In a 51, the ring is enforced, and the two kaijus battle it out where there can be only one winner. And unfortunately for Slim Shanky, he could watch all the Attack on Titan that he wanted to, because nothing could prepare him for a real life Titan. And Omos puts him down in 4:52 with a choke slam. Omos does score a 76 and a 40 for Shanky, so 51 seems kind of weirdly low. Probably should have been like 60-ish, but whatever. Slim Shanky and Omos, it was never going to be a classic. We then return backstage with the Street Profits. And Kathy Kelly's like, boys, first of all, Montez Ford, welcome back. And he's like, oh, Kathy Kelly, it's so great to be back. You see, as much as I may have missed my time here on Raw, seeing my main man AD here thrive, that's what this is all about. Seeing my best friend become Intercontinental Champion. It's like, yeah, fam. Like I said before, Street Profits are taking over in 2023. And that began with me being Intercontinental Champion. And that will be Tez. That'll be Tez. I guess Tez will be WWE Champion. Maybe United States Champion if he goes over to SmackDown. And next week, Kathy, this is our official statement. Alexa, you listen to this. How about next week, the Bionic Breed and the Street Profits 2-on-2 for that little tag team championship qualifier you're looking to make? Okay? And then we'll move on to the Royal Rumble, where we'll continue capturing gold like only we can. And Tez is like, it's gonna be Fuego and I'm ready. So there's a challenge made for... I don't think Alexa's made the statement on what two teams will be in that match, but Angelo and Montez Ford seem to think that they have a good reason to be in there. And they're probably not wrong. And then see Bivens, Omos, Veer and Doudrop walking through the hallway. And like, that's it, Veer. You didn't even need to unload on anyone's ass tonight. You got a night off. You got time to recharge. Omos, the Colossus, the Nigerian giant, slayed that other giant on that other team. And if he can't hang with any of us, then, well, that entire little crew over there shouldn't be a problem, because they've got nobody that can even hold a candle to Omos. Not even their own fellow 7-foot guy. And then we hear slow claps from off screen, like, and then into frame walks Joe Gacy. And he goes, Mr. Bivens and the rest of you, I could not just sit back any longer and listen to this. I had to take action. And Bivens like, action about what? And he said, well, you see, you sure did leave quite the impression. You coming out on top in that match against that wannabe giant, that wannabe rap star, Shanky. And now those stupid enemies that rejected my world, my view, my attainment of peace, have sided with the enemy. And Malcolm, the enemy of my enemy, is indeed my friend. So, if you want a war back against Titus and his crew and that other crew, this right here seems like the best outcome. And Bivens is like, so let me get this straight. You want me? People work for me, okay? Dawkins didn't pay you. Dawkins paid me to attack everybody that we attacked her, okay? And second of all, we can beat Titus World Records on our own air, on our own by ourselves. We don't need your help. But we appreciate the interest. And Gacy puts his hand on Bivens' shoulder. He goes to leave and he goes, oh, do trust me. A whole lot more than you know you will need to be on our side. So, I shall let you think your decision through. Because this is not a rash decision. This is you completely changing your way of life. And Bivens is like, tell it is. Then he walks off. 59. Wasn't expecting anything too great from this, because they had two NXT women in it. But it is Liv and Shida, Liv for Battle, who win again against the team of Zoe Stark and Sol Ruka. Shida pins Sol with the Tamashino 3 count. 79 for Shida, 73 for Liv, 48 for Zoe Stark, and a 37 for Sol Ruka. And yes, after last week, when Liv was screwed out of that Liberty Championship, she's not happy. And she grabs a microphone. And she's like, "Hey, Bayley, Dakota, Cora, you think we're done here? Get your ass out here." And then on the Titantron, they pop, they go, "Ding dong. Okay, so like, I know we're the champions, and as the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, me and Dakota, we can appear on Raw, and with that Liberty Championship, Cora can too. So we're very busy balancing both Raw and SmackDown, and you think it's kind of silly that we even consider being there tonight? Well, what is it, Liv? What do you want? Okay, what's so rudely interrupting our vacay for?" And Liv goes, "Well, we want another shot." And Bayley just laughs and goes, "You want another shot? And what, me? For my Women's Tag Team Championships alongside my good friend Dakota Kai? What is the matter with you?" And Liv goes, "I know I can win. I know we can win. You leave your little girl up there at home and make this just a 2-on-2. And then we'll see who comes out on top, huh?" And Bayley goes, "Well, we're not going to leave Dakota. Cora. That's the one. Because when we travel as a unit. It's not our fault you don't have any other friends. But I'll humour you, Liv. I'll consider your situation on one condition. If we're giving you an unearned rematch of the Tag Team Championships, you've got to put something else on the line. So if you and Shida do fail next week against us, you're out." And Liv's like, "Out of what?" And Bayley goes, "Out. Your spots in the Royal Rumble match, finished, done, wiped clean. So what is it, Liv? How much do these titles really mean to you?" And Liv's like, "The entire world. You're on, bitch." So there's a big Women's Tag Team Championship match for next week. Liv and Shida getting their rematch from New Year's Revolution against Damage Control for the belts. So that was the other tag match that I hinted at earlier on when I was like, there's so many tag matches on SmackDown next week. Raw. Yeah, that was one of them. Speaking of next week, we then get the official graphic for that match. It will be the dub team of Liv for Battle, Hikaru Shida and Liv Morgan, taking on Dakota Kai and Bayley, the Women's Tag Team Championship of Damage Control, and with the additional added stipulation, where if Shida and Liv lose, they will lose and forfeit their spots in the Women's Royal Rumble match. So a lot of stakes for both teams in that one. Speaking of tag team matches, we then have the Intercontinental Champion Angelo Dawkins teaming with his tag team partner, the recently returned Montez Ford, to take on the Bionic Breeds Buddy Matthews and Dijak. I guess it's official. I guess Alexa liked what she saw, because that is the match for the winning team going on to the Royal Rumble to face Path of the Dragon for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And we then have another fun tag team match as Drew McIntyre and Bianca Belair team up once again, but this time not against a rival of Drew's and rival of Bayley's. Bianca's. I'm getting all these names mixed up today. But there's two common enemies of Drew McIntyre, that being Florence and Ridge Holland of the Regal Coalition. And no new Royal Rumble announcements tonight, because that will come next week. But we haven't announced any new men or women for the matches this week, or any other title matches. So yeah, just the Raw graphics for this time. For an 85 rated main event, which is really good, but I had a couple of better matches on this card, so I'm going to moan. That's the way TEW life works, I'm afraid. But yes, it is Dolph Ziggler and Damian Priest of the Grand Jury picking up a, I guess you could say, shock win of a rated RKO. Dolph Ziggler pins Edge with a super kick in 21 minutes and 9 seconds. 83 for Randy, 84 for Edge, 78 for Priest, and a 79 for Dolph Ziggler. Interesting win. And the Grand Jury, the actual one still standing, comes out on top here. The men, being Emerson Frost and Ken Cobain, get into the ring as well and hold Edge and Randy both up. They both eat a super kick from Dolph. And then he does that visual where he tosses them over the top rope. And if that will happen next Sunday, they will be eliminated from the Royal Rumble. But who's going to win the Royal Rumble? Will it be that man, Dolph Ziggler? The commentators ask, will Dolph Ziggler win the Royal Rumble? This could finally be his year. as the show goes off the air. 89. That's actually a good episode of Raw. But yeah, a couple of little things that are going to lead places. But we are in officially, might I say, the dragging part of the Rumble build. Like, all of the stories I need to build for the Rumble have already been built. And it's basically just, oh, here's a match. Here's a segment to set up a match. Here's a match. Stuff like that. But we're nearly over. We've got one more Raw left to go. Before then, we have to get through the rest of tonight's show, which is after Heat, which will feature Nova Nebula versus Sonya Deville as its main event. Heat kicks off with a 59, but apparently that's mainly because of chemistry issues. Indy Hartwell beats Chantel Harmon from NXT, who is Kellyanne English renamed. Just as a random match to open up Heat this week. Gets a 9.53, Indy wins by pinfall, a 60 for Indy, a 49 for Chantel, because they don't seem to click. And that really brought the match rating down, but other than that, it probably would have been better. But yeah, just Indy, she's sort of like doing nothing while Sasha's away. So, just another win to remind us that she exists. Oh my god, that's a good segment. Alicia Sanford is interviewing Candice LeRae backstage. Just a couple of words, because she qualified for the Rumble in the main event on SmackDown, and we didn't really get a chance to hear from her. About how she, for many months last year, she was stuck in the role of, Candice with a good hand, go to Heat to get the best and get good matches out of the girls that we want to study for NXT. And now, Candice has her own destiny at her feet, and she could win it all next weekend and go on to WrestleMania and take down Bayley and Damage Control once and for all. Will that happen? I don't know. Have to wait and see. 68 match. Rosie Riley wasn't as good as the referee. Why is she even set as a referee? That's annoying. But, yeah, Naomi won. 10-22 with a split-legged moonsault. 70 for Naomi, 61 for Doudrop. And yeah, if I didn't put an NXT wrestler in the referee role, that would have been a decent match, but even better than that. We then get to Rosie Riley in the ring, as she should have been this whole time. Her and Kim McQueen are the two NXT developmental people that are going to spotlight the Yoko Miko team tonight. They obviously win. Yoko submits Rosie Riley with a cross-arm breaker. 75 for Yoko, 50 for Kimiko, 56 for Rosie, and a 49 for Kim McQueen. And yeah, again, like I said, we're just establishing Yoko Miko as a thing right now, so they're probably going to be able to get to mainly Heat duty unless I've got something like an easy spot just to fill a match in for him on Raw. But that worked out fine for Canada. She's doing really well right now, so, and I want to just get them established before any plans I may have down the line. And then the main event, as we advertised on Raw. 75, I knew that was going to get shit on for a lack of psychology. I'm starting to think Sonya Deville might not be very good in this mod. I might need to have a look at her stats. But Nova does win. She beats Sonya in 14:37 with an area 451, an 80 for Nova, and a 72 for Sonya. And I guess when I look at it like that, a 75 is fine, ? But, yeah. Sonya's apparently got a stale gimmick. We'll have a look at that, because that might also, have slotted her at a certain level. But a 73 for Heat is whatever. What matters more than that is obviously what you thought of Raw. So do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown. And the next episode of Raw we'll do will be the Royal Rumble Go Home show. See you then.